Hi, pre-calc students. I hope you're doing well today, even though it's really kind of dreary and gray outside. Hopefully you got to enjoy the nice weather we had over the weekend and got to spend some quality time with the mothers in your life. Um, so today, as you know, AP testing is starting this week. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be basically designing the curriculum so that it's very flexible so you can do it when you are going to have more time. So we're going to give you the full assignment today, and then it will be due in 2 weeks on May 25th. Next week, there will also be an optional assignment for those of you that have time, but it will not be required. So just a reminder, today you should be completing your conics review assignment, and that needs to be posted to Google Classroom by this evening, as well as your Desmos project. And you should have uploaded your group quiz last Thursday or Friday. Reminder also, for the next 2 weeks, there will be no Zoom meetings scheduled due to AP testing. So if you need anything, please reach out and ask us. We're happy to help you, but we're not going to schedule any Zoom meetings for the next 2 weeks. So the next unit we're going to be starting is on vectors, and I'm going to let this guy introduce it for you.
Hey. I'm applying for a new villain loan. Go by the name of Vector. It's a mathematical term, a quantity represented by an arrow with both direction and magnitude. Vector! That's me, because I'm committing crimes with both direction and magnitude. Oh, yeah!
So a vector is a quantity that has both direction and magnitude, and it is used a lot in physics. Some of you who've studied physics may have seen some vectors before, and you probably all will use vectors in physics at some point in time. But oftentimes it's used to represent some kind of force that can be represented with a length and also a direction, and then you can see multiple forces when they're working all on the same object to see what the resultant force would be. So we're going to be using the Georgia Virtual Learning website again, the same website you used for the conics unit, and you're going to be working through the website, doing all the different activities, and then there are 3 assignments that you're going to turn in. There's 2 handouts that are on the website, but also on our PreCalc website and Google Classroom. And then your assessment for this unit is going to be a Kahoot project, which I'll explain a little bit in a minute also. As you're working, please don't just jump right to the handout because you're not going to know what to do. So you need to go through the activities, read the terms, and then also complete any activities that they have you do on here. A couple of things I wanted to point out is some notation. So a vector, as described, it's a mathematical object that has both magnitude and direction, and the notation that's used is often bold-faced. This is a little hard to see, but this is a bold V. And you can use any letter of the alphabet that you like to represent a vector, depending on what it's representing. A lot of times you might want to use a letter related to what the actual force might be. This is a more common way of representing a vector, and this is useful especially when you're writing it yourself, since it's a little hard to denote that something is bold. You put the V, and then this is like a little half arrow. It's a little horizontal line with a half arrow going up. This is what's called the component form of a vector, which you'll learn about throughout the module. Also, the magnitude of a vector has this notation where you have either absolute value signs or like these double absolute value signs on either side is more common. That's showing the magnitude of the vector. One of the things that's a little bit tricky is when you're talking about the direction of a vector, it depends. There's 2 different ways that direction is denoted. One is in standard position. So sometimes it'll say in standard position, or it'll say with the horizontal. And that means that it's kind of the same type of direction that we've seen before with your in trig, when we made an angle in standard position, the one side of your angle is the x-axis, and then the other side is going up from the x-axis in the counterclockwise position. But a lot of times vectors are going to be represented also as a direction going from north. So if this is north, and then we're saying it's a direction, a navigational direction of 150 degrees, it's going to be going 150 degrees from north. So as you're doing application problems, you want to just pay really careful attention to the way that the direction is given. Another thing I want to point out is when you get to page 5 on here, the bottom part of page 5 has you doing multiplication with matrices, and we're going to skip this part. So you're welcome to do it if you want to, but this part is optional. So you want to do the whole thing up until you get to the part where you're writing it as a vertical matrix, because we haven't really worked with matrices this year. So you can skip this bottom part, and then there's also a handout on that says transform vectors handout. You can skip that because they're doing that all using matrices. So the Kahoot project you're going to do at the end, there's a handout that lists exactly what you're going to do, but I wanted to just point out a couple of things in Kahoot. So first of all, you're going to need to make an account so that you'll be able to save it. And then once you've done that, you would need to, I'm just going to log in really quickly, sorry. Once you've done that, then you're going to be able to share your project with either Ms. King or myself. So as you go to it, you would create a new Kahoot, and then you can either type in your question, you can type it in a different, like in Word or Microsoft Word or something, and then drag and drop it in here, or you can also drag and drop images from your computer. And then you're going to pick 4 answers to pick from. Since it's multiple choice, you want to pick the answers here that would seem reasonable based on your question that somebody might pick if they made some kind of common mistake. So really think strategically about what your other answers should be. Don't just put 4 random numbers in there. You want to make it something that people might actually pick. We are going to actually play some of these games, so you want to definitely make it as good as you can and make it challenging for your classmates. As well as creating the Kahoot, you're also going to do all of your problems. You're going to write them out on a piece of paper, and you're going to submit that to Google Classroom with your Kahoot. So once you're done, you're going to want to share your Kahoot. So the way that you do that is you just click on share here, and then you would click share Kahoot. And then there's 2 ways to do it. One is to share with someone if you know what their Kahoot name is, but you don't want to do that. You want to go down to the part where it says share link, and you just click on copy URL and then paste that into Google Classroom, and then we'll be able to access your Kahoot. So that's how you should share that. All right, I think that's about it. Hopefully you're doing well, and please reach out if you have any questions about anything else. All right, thanks.